Muhammad was a very nice guy. He was a very nice guy. He treated Jews very well. He treated women very well. Yeah.
He treated his sex slaves very well.
Sex slaves.
The days of Muhammad are coming back. We will do to the Jews the same thing that our prophet did to them. That has to tell us something, that this hatred is attached to religion, is not separated from it.
You know why they're saying that? They're saying that because it's a death cult. Muslims proudly and boastfully say we love death more than we love life itself. We love death more than you love life.
Why is it hard to not just say, that was terrible?
I don't see you asking Regev if he condemned the slaughter of innocent civilians.
You can't do it, can you?
No, she can't, because she's the same woman who said every Zionist before they die should hear pop, pop before they die. So she probably agrees with the massacre. So why would she condemn them?
Their entire goal is to establish a religious Islamic society in that place. And they build and base their ideas on Islam and on the idea that as Muslims, they are supposed to fight and get rid of the Jews, that they are supposed to keep that stronghold of Islam when the end comes. That is their ideal. That is their goal. That is where they see themselves. And if people don't acknowledge this, then they will not understand what this conflict is about.
This isn't about Judaism, Kurt. This isn't about Islam.
And if people don't acknowledge this, then they will not understand what this conflict is about.
A child is raised to remember that the ones who are cursed are Jews, the ones who went astray are Christians, and are repeated daily, 5 times a day, and you repeat it in every unit in the prayer, not just one of them. So imagine a kid growing up like this. What is he going to think about Jews and Christians when he grows up?
Which embraces them with terrorist organizations. Why did nobody ever say anything about this?
Because no one could have foreseen such a thing.
Exactly. Nobody could have foreseen that. Nobody would know. Nobody could have known.
No one has an IQ above 30. And therefore, no one could have predicted this.
No one knows what it's like.
No one has the ability to spend 5 minutes looking at the Muslim sources to see what it calls for.
This isn't about Judaism, Kurt. This isn't about Islam.
And what does that mean? We have to make more time for people. And they build and base their ideas on Islam and on the idea that as Muslims, they are supposed to fight and get rid of the Jews.
I have to say, until we deal with the hatred of Jews in the Muslim sources, you're not going to see a nice outcome here.
This is London. London is marching here, waving all kinds of flags. Among them, you see Islamist flags, but also communist flags. Very funny. I saw a photo earlier which said Socialist Union something something, marching together alongside the Islamists. If you let them rule in a free country, they would just murder each other. But somehow here they think, oh yeah, we support each other. We support each other's right to exist freely and then to murder each other. This disgusts me.
Yeah, I spent the past 20 years telling people exactly what Islam teaches, and now that I get to spend the next 20 years saying I told you so.
London Bridge is falling down. Why did this happen? Why did nobody warn the people in the West?
I warned them
that this would happen.
I did. I warned them.
Why did nobody say anything, Dave?
I did.
Why did nobody ever?
Robert Spencer did
this. Okay, but why did nobody ever say anything about this? Why did nobody ever say that if you continue with this whole tolerance, open arms, stop Islamophobia, and so on policy, you would end up with massive groups of people coming here and abusing all kinds of rights and waving Islamist signs, supporting Islamist groups, falling for Islamist propaganda and standing against the West, which embraces them, with terrorist organizations. Why did nobody ever say anything about this?
Because no one could have foreseen such a thing.
Exactly. Nobody could have foreseen that. Nobody would know. Nobody could have known.
No one has an IQ above 30. And
Nobody.
therefore, no one could have predicted this.
No one knows what it's like.
No one has the ability to spend 5 minutes looking at the Muslim sources to see what it calls for.
This isn't about Judaism, Kurt. This isn't about Islam.
And what does that mean? We have to make more time for people. Muhammad was a very nice guy. He was a very nice guy. He treated Jews very well. He treated women very well. Yeah.
He treated his sex slaves very well.
I don't understand.
Sex slaves.
I don't understand.
He treated the entire Jewish tribes very well, the polytheists very well. He treated dogs very well. He was a dog lover. He loved dogs. Yeah. Jeff Durble said maybe Hijab was asking himself if he was. I know that that's the theory.
We talked about it.
That's a theory. Maybe he was telling himself in his head, "Why are you stuttering?
Stupid. Oh, did I say that out loud? Did I say it out loud? I get confused between what's in my head and what."
Ron B. Next part of the super chat. Question 1: Why do you think everybody is afraid to say this is a religious movement? 2: If Hamas is a religious movement, how can there ever be a solution? I'm not sure if people are afraid or if people are just confused or ignorant, but it's pretty clear. I mean, Hamas is it literally stands for Islamic Resistance Movement. That's what it literally stands for. It's the Arabic abbreviation of Harakat al-Muqawwama wal-Islamiyya, which is Harakat al-Muqawwama al-Islamiyya, which is Islamic Resistance Movement. That's what it stands for. Hamas. That's literally the name of it. And if you read their charter in English, it will say Islamic Resistance Movement. Their entire goal is to establish a religious Islamic society in that place, and they build and base their ideas on Islam and on the idea that as Muslims they are supposed to fight and get rid of the Jews, that they are supposed to keep that stronghold of Islam when the end comes. That is their ideal. That is their goal. That is where they see themselves. And if people don't acknowledge this, then they will not understand what this conflict is about. This is an important point. It should be brought up to everybody. It should be brought up all the time. The group was formed with the whole idea of eradicating the Jews. That's what they are about.
So the hero of kibbutz is Shai Asher. He was a simple husband, father, high-tech worker, and member of the kibbutz emergency team who saved his community from the Hamas invasion. So one guy basically with a gun stood his ground against the Hamas terrorists who were trying to storm his area.
Nice. Respectably nice.
Not according to Western college students who know you should have invited them in to slaughter everybody because that's what I'm programmed to say because I'm a moron.
Why didn't you give your children and your family?
No, I don't. Just offer them up like offering child sacrifice to Moloch.
Yeah, why didn't you do that, you idiot?
Yeah, do that. Stupid colonizer. Occupier.
Free
Palestine. Free. They sound so dumb.
I understand that.
I'll show you a little bit more of this one and then we can move on, but you have to see this.
This latest war that's erupted began with a terror attack on October the 7th. Why is it hard to not just say, that was terrible?
I don't see you asking Regev if he condemned the slaughter of innocent civilians.
You can't do it, can you?
No, she can't, because she's the same woman who said every Zionist before they die should hear pop, pop before they die. So she probably agrees with the massacre. So why would she condemn them?
I think we're the media.
Look at that. Did you see? Look, you would normally see a reaction here to this and an explanation or a denial or something. What she does instead is just to smirk while the other woman says this. And then she just moves on.
This isn't about Judaism, Kurt. This isn't about Islam.
Oops. Nobody told me it was uncrackable.
I don't understand.
As part of manufacturing.
Would she condemn them?
Look at this smirk.
I think we're the media.
This is
part of
dawa. This is dawa based. This is what they call dawa based.
Yeah.
manufacturing.
These are the people who then speak about, empathy, about oppression, about this, about that. She is basically called out on air in front of so many viewers for saying very clearly, I hope every Zionist hears, the last thing they hear is pop, pop. So basically she's saying, I hope every Zionist gets killed. And she doesn't even react to it. She just wants to move on with the conversation and be, self-righteous in it. This is the kind of people that we're dealing with, who then try to lecture us on oppression, on the right to live, on this and that. It's incredible, man.
AP, she's not talking about armed soldiers. She just says Zionists. Wouldn't
Yes.
someone like her regard any of these civilians as Zionists?
Yes. Every single person who lives there and who supports the idea of Israel just existing is a Zionist.
Yeah, that's what that's the weird thing. It's like you'll have hijab and so on, and yes, we condemn the killing of innocents and civilians and so on. It's like, wait, you guys regard all these guys as occupiers.
Yeah.
The women too, the civilians too. You regard all of them as occupiers on your land. So
yeah.
I'm not.
And that's also the funny thing. So when people say, "Oh, I'm not against Jews. I'm only against Zionism or against Zionists," excuse me. If you are against Zionists, that means you are against those people who think Israel may exist. Israel should exist. You are against those people who approve of people living there. You are against people who actually live there, who are Israelis. You don't want them to exist. And this is pretty much in line with majority Palestinian beliefs, by the way, and with clearly with the policies of Hamas. And yet we are somehow in the middle of all of this, despite all of that, somehow supposed to ignore the genocidal ideas by Hamas and their supporters and their fellow Palestinians. And we're supposed to act like they did nothing wrong, everything is perfect, but the Israel is just oppressing people, and we are basically supporting oppression and all of that. It's just a giant lie, and lots of people are eating it up right now. Lots of people are actually buying the propaganda. A lot of people support the currently in fashion idea of saying free Palestine, and all of that. When lots of them don't even pay attention to the fact that the majority of Palestinians agree that there should be no Israel. That is messed up.
Yeah, lots of the students and stuff who go around free Palestine, free Palestine, especially from the river to the sea. They don't realize that's not a call for a two-state solution. They don't realize it, right? Some of them realize it, but some of them is just, it's cool to yell this thing from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And they think they think that's about like a free Gaza, right? Like stop messing with Gaza. I don't realize that's a call for ethnically cleansing the entire land of Jews.
Yeah.
And they're too dumb to realize it.
Precisely that.
They're not slowing down. They're saying, no. We have sacrificed 1% of Gazan population, and we are willing to sacrifice even more. Hamas, don't slow down. They're not pressuring Hamas to surrender. We cannot win this war. Please stop. They're not saying that. Instead, they are pressuring Israel. They're saying, okay, well, Israel, you've already killed 1% of our people. How many more are you going to kill? 2%, 3%? We're willing to sacrifice all of them. If Imperial Japan thought like these blue-haired Wokistanis and Muslim diaspora and Hamas, they would have been like, that's nothing. That's only 0.3% of our population. It's only 220,000 people. We've got 71 million people. Come on, America. You're going to run out of atomic bombs, and we're not going to run out of people. But no, that's the point. Even Imperial Japan valued their people more than Hamas, than these Muslim propagandists, and worst of all, these blue-haired Wokistanis.
I don't understand.
Like you did with Takagi. Oops.
That's exactly what they're saying. And you know why they're saying that? They're saying that because it's a death cult. Muslims proudly and boastfully say we love death more than we love life itself. We love death more than you love life.
We believe that life begins at death. We don't care about death. We love death.
الحياة غالية بس احنا لا، احنا عم نصفر. ما تسمعش عشان هيك بتلقى استشهاديين.
أنا سألتك بنتك محمد بعد كنت طيبك. تعطيني تستشهد؟
طبعا.
والله؟ معلش.
إذا كان من القدس عادي.
Muslims are boastfully talking about that, and that says a lot. Douglas Murray said that Hamas is worse than the Nazis. I'm saying Hamas is not just worse than the Nazis, they're also worse than Imperial Japan, and that is no small claim. How evil was Imperial Japan? Just ask the Chinese. Just look up the Nanking Massacre. These guys were brutal. And generally we think that as time progresses, our brutality goes down. And if I'm to say that Hamas, and not only just Hamas, I have to include these blue-haired Wokistanis and the Muslim diaspora as well. These guys are worse than Imperial Japan and the Nazis, because the Nazis tried to hide their crimes. But Hamas did it with glee. They boastfully showed it to the world. They not only just filmed these atrocities to boost the morale of Hamas fighters, but also they sent it to the whole Muslim world. They said, look what we're doing. And unlike the Nazis, they were not afraid that Muslims will revolt against them. Muslims will criticize Hamas. No, they were confident that the Muslims will support them even more. And lo and behold, that's what they did. They supported them. They supported Hamas even more.
And oh, I got a revelation. God wants me to have your 6-year-old daughter as my wife. Then he went, he goes to Jerusalem on this flying donkey monster. And then, oh, so that's going to be ours too. It's like, wait, you could just wake up at one day and say, hey, like me, I could wake up right now and say, I had a dream that Elon Musk has to give me all his money.
Yeah.
Therefore what? It's mine now because I had a dream or I'm claiming a revelation. It's just interesting stuff about how you can claim it and then just kick people off of land.
And for the other tribe, Banu Qurayza, which was a different story, he killed all the male above 14, 13. He checked their hair of puberty, and then based on that,
makes them drop their clothes off, and so he's checking them to see who's reached puberty.
Yeah, so he killed around 600 people on that day. And what was the excuse? He was raided by these tribes, Arab tribes. The Jews said, we have nothing to do with it. And then he said, no, you broke your covenant with me, and you have to pay for it. So he just went and he raided them. I think he was just mad at them, and he tried to find an excuse. And Khaybar, the same thing. It's far away from him. They never harmed him. They never did anything. Just one day in the morning, his army is shouting. People are...
It says they're walking out to do their work.
Exactly.
They're heading out to the fields to do their work. When,
and suddenly they saw his army, and he was like, Allahu Akbar kharibat Khaybar, like, God, Allah is great. Now we will destroy Khaybar. And since then, even now in these protests around the world, people are shouting, Khaybar, Khaybar, ya Yahud, Jaysh Muhammad, Sawfa Ya'ud, means Khaybar, Khaybar, oh Jews, the army of Muhammad is coming back. So they are reminding the whole world that Muhammad massacred Jews on the day of Khaybar. He took their land, he took their belongings, and he made them, they were like working for him as slaves, actually.
Yeah, he made them dhimmis,
Dhimmis. So when we are in the 21st century, and one in UK, a Muslim, is reminding the world that the days of Muhammad are coming back. We will do to the Jews the same thing that our prophet did to them. That has to tell us something, that this hatred is attached to religion, is not separated from it.
This isn't about Judaism, Kurt. This isn't about Islam.
Oops.
I don't understand.
So going back to my point that this is related to religion, I grew up as a Muslim, and the first thing we learn is the Fatiha, the opening, how to pray with it. And everybody around me, not just me, we knew that the last verses of the Fatiha are about Jews and Christians. If you read them, the path of those those you have blessed, means they're talking to Allah, not those who you are displeased with or who are astray. مغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. It means Jews and Christians. Actually, it says the ones that you cursed or you are angry at them, you are mad at them, and those who went astray. The ones who went astray are Christians. The ones who are cursed are the Jews. Imagine you repeat that 18 times a day.
I don't understand, man.
And you are just repeating that in every prayer, every time, and in your mind it's related to Jews and Christians, then you have a problem there, because that's brainwashing, actually. A child is raised to remember that the ones who are cursed are Jews, the ones who went astray are Christians, and are repeated daily, 5 times a day, and you repeat it in every unit in the prayer, not just one of them. So imagine a kid growing up like this. What is he going to think about Jews and Christians when he grows up?
It's built into Islam that Jews are the supreme enemies of Muslims. You don't get your rewards on Judgment Day until you slaughter the Jews. And then all of a sudden you get the nation of Israel, and it becomes the target of rage around the world. And so, guys, we look at this situation as a really, really rough situation. You wonder what you can do, but I have to say, until we deal with the hatred of Jews in the Muslim sources, you're not going to see a nice outcome here.
Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being